I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the Stars and Cars of the SimSpeedShop.com Premier Series for the Sim Racers Club. Their Mint Mortgage fall season rapidly drawing to, I guess, let's see here, just past the halfway point. Round number 8 of 12 on the fall season here this evening, and it is coming to you from Talladega Superspeedway, place where Bill Elliott officially holds the track record, 44.998 seconds, set in a Ford Thunderbird back in 1987. However, I am fairly certain it's Mark Donohue that actually holds the track record, significantly faster than Bill Elliott's, running a Porsche Can-Am car, I believe it was around here. Wild, wild speeds back in the 70s and 80s. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. Patrick Byrne. And we got to add another name to the bottom of the list here. We're going to have James Watson on the call with us here tonight. James, driver extraordinaire of a variety of everything on the iRacing platform, for those of you guys that may not be familiar with him. But yes, James.
Allegedly,
yes. Practice is just about running out here at Talladega. We are going to get ready to go qualifying. A 20-car field is who we're going to have on tonight's show. I'll tell you what, Bizzle, this is, as well, no surprise here. Quite frankly, expected to be a pretty darn fantastic show out of these guys, and they always put on a good one.
Yeah, especially at these plate tracks. And with the team dynamics that are found in the Sim Racers Club, it's basically now Will Warser Racing, or Without Will Racing, as we've jokingly called it, versus Charity Motorsports. These two teams have gotten absolutely massive, and I expect to see a lot of teamwork going on between these guys.
Yeah, that's a great point here. And James, maybe you can speak to this a little bit. The Charity Motorsports guys, Adam Benefield, Garrett Johnston, Larry Bruner, Matthew Kopp. Obviously, the Will Worsler Racing guys we're very familiar with. Tyler Seville, AJ Digby, Hunter Waters, Jeff Yenish in this group of cars tonight. But at a place like Talladega, having a big group of teammates is really, really important.
yeah, especially at a track like this. We all saw the that one race back in 2018 where SHR just completely controlled the race and ended up being about as easy of a win as you're gonna get at a place like Talladega. It's so huge because you can not only can you control one line, you can kind of control multiple lines if you set it up to where you have one half of the team on the inside, the other half of the team on the outside. Like, it's really easy to just go full NASCAR 06 total team control on this and just completely dominate the race. But as we see with Talladega, in general, well, the best laid plans never always go how you think. So, yeah, they could end up all wrecked and someone else wins. You never know.
Not only that, notably missing from the Discord is the Riot Motorsports guys. I am not sure if they've kind of hidden their own hole, maybe get away from us, or maybe they're working together with their own personal spotters as well here tonight. But one of those drivers right there is that 77 we see. He moved over from Pie-Eye to Riot Motorsports. Another driver I'm not seeing in the Discord is Johnny Avila. I know he was on vacation this weekend. He made his way down to Phoenix to go watch the Cup finale, but unsure if that vacation is over or not.
Well, Johnny Avila is in the session. I can say that much, but he is not yet on the racetrack. as Troy Haight goes quick time on lap number 1, 53.315. Just as soon as we start saying that, though, Cody Porter now going to move himself to the top of the board, 53.279. And that looks like, oh, well, maybe not. Thought he was maybe going to be one and done here. But Anthony Hanley going to move into second. Andrew Mraz, Larry Bruner, and Quentin Clark, the top 5. Of note, no Will Worsler racing cars inside the top 5 as of yet. Hunter Waters, the only car that's gotten a lap in from those guys. He currently sits in the 10th position as Andrew Moore Jr. moves himself up into position number 2. That one's going to be at a lap time of 53.291. Cody Porter back on pit lane. He's going to be done. Tom Wilhite, he's going to be finished as well. Pick up the 88 of Anthony Hanley. He's sitting on pit lane. No more work left to do. The 25 of Larry Bruner on the racetrack right now in the Red Bull number 25. The other guy that's out on the racetrack, let's take a look. He's going to be right here, and that is your points leader, the number 24 of Braden Carroll, having an absolutely exceptional season this year. Carroll has been good is maybe an understatement here. In 7 starts, 2 poles, 3 wins, 5 top 5. 71% of the time, this car's finishing inside the top 5. And perhaps of note, the incident count is only 21. If there's one thing we saw out of Braden Carroll over the last couple of seasons, Bizzle, maybe not able to get the car to the end of the races. That's changed for this season, and that right now, this championship is Braden Carroll's to lose.
Yeah, with him so far ahead, as long as he shows up every week and sits himself in the top 10 and gets some stage points here and there, it's just about locked up. Johnny Avila has to win every stage, every race, to kind of put himself back in the fight. Mathematically, it's still possible, but unlikely at this point.
Yeah, we'll pick up the other Zeem Speed Shop TeamZSS.com entry. That is going to be Johnny Avila. Not exactly having a bad season. He has a couple of poles, a couple of wins. 66% of the time he's inside of the top 5. Incident count is right there with Braden Carroll. I mean, they are having almost identical seasons. But James, when you race in a league that offers stage points the way this one does, you get 40 points for a win, but you can pick up another 20 in stage points. That's huge. You have to keep yourself at the front of the field and earn those stage points.
Yeah, it really spices up the racing on tracks like this. You know, you really have to make a more concerted effort on what you want to do. You know, typically we see a fair amount of guys hang out in the back, wait for the chaos to happen, and then make their way to the front. But you can't really do that nowadays. You kind of have to be a little more aggressive, especially if you're in Johnny's place where you need points. You got to be aggressive, and you have to get those points. So we might see a little more chaos earlier on because of that, and guys having to get those points, desperate for those points.
Yeah, and actually, Bisley, it's kind of a great point here that we talked about the teamwork. That can be just as important. You get your teammates throwing the picks for you as Johnny Avila goes quick time, 53.264, 53.26 with a 4 for Johnny Avila. That was a heater. Let's pick up A.J. Digby in the 14. A.J. working his second qualification lap. Still waiting on Adam Benefield, Matthew Kopp, Jeff Yenish, and Doug Wysocki to get out onto the racing surface for qualifications as we're down to about 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. But Bizzle, back to the point, you can use the teammates not just to help you get to the front, but sometimes it's just as important to try to keep somebody else back behind you.
Yeah, those WWR guys are really going to have to work on keeping Braden Carroll way in the back. With that 11th place starting position, their work's cut out for them, at least for stage number 1. But moving forward towards the end of the race, when pit cycles happen and everyone gets shuffled through, it's going to be a lot harder to keep Braden in the rear of the field.
Yeah, Hunter Waters is pulling the strategy game once again here of do just enough in qualifying to get yourself eligible for the hard charger bonus. But he will be starting towards the back of this one. Johnny Avila, Tyler Seville, AJ Digby putting 3 of the 4 Will Worsler Racing cars inside the top 4. The only car that is not amongst that group is the 04 of Cody Porter. Waiting to see these last couple of cars get out onto the racetrack to see if they will be able to take a lap here in qualifying, and quite frankly, they may not. As we look ahead to the rest of the season here, guys, things start to get a little bit spicy here because next week we head to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the off week for Thanksgiving, and then we close out with the kind of traditional NASCAR closeout. Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix. There's a lot of places that I see, especially Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix, where a 46-point lead maybe isn't all that safe if you're Braden Carroll.
No, Talladega, it's very easy to get swept up if we have an early caution. If we have the big one on lap number 1, it's very easy to throw your race away 10 minutes from now. Same thing with Martinsville. That's a very high-contact track. Tempers flare. Drivers do crazy things. We saw Ross Chastain go around the outside wall 2 years ago. Martinsville is nuts. So definitely a huge opportunity for Johnny Avila to make some points, and definitely another huge opportunity for Braden Carroll to lose some points. So it's not over, but he does have a nice cushion there between him and Johnny Avila.
Yeah, and James, this one being a fixed setup league, you're sort of handcuffed a little bit in that you have to kind of hope that the setup that gets delivered to you is something that's going to fit your driving style. Here at Talladega, not so much, but especially Vegas, Martinsville, and really Phoenix, you kind of need to be able to drive the setup instead of just putting yours in and giving it, a big go.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing, especially at a track like Phoenix. It is so setup dependent. You need the chassis to roll just perfectly, otherwise you're going to be suffering, and it's going to make it a lot harder to save tires. Homestead as well, that's another big setup place, and if the setup is just not conducive to good tire wear, then it's really going to screw over the guys that aren't quite as good as saving their stuff. Martinsville, you don't really worry about how the set is working when you're under caution, so I don't think you need to worry about it as much there. And even still, there's a lot more the driver can do at Martinsville to kind of counteract a not quite as good setup. If you're good on your braking and your trail braking and how you apply the throttle. Well,
qualifications are done. It is time for us to go racing here at Talladega Superspeedway, one of the baddest, fastest race courses in the world. And I cannot wait. Absolutely love getting to watch these guys run all the way around here. Let's see which camera set we want to pick up. Yeah, we'll pick up this one, and we will show you tonight's starting lineup. Starting on the pole will be the Zeem Speed Shop, TeamZSS.com, number 63 of multi-time series champion Johnny Avila. To his inside will be the Chubbies Hunter's Fried Pickles, number 11 Toyota Camry of Tyler Seville. Row number 2 tonight will have the Express Esports, number 04 of Cody Porter. Similar logo on the hood there to what the guys from the Charity Motorsports teams are running, and that kind of the Riot Motorsports guys are running. So interesting to see one of those cars getting up towards the front. Will Worsler Racing's AJ Digby in the 14 AJ Chevrolet Camaro will line up on the outside of row number 2. Row number 3 tonight out of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will be the Weiss Markets, number 77 of Andrew Moore Jr. Lining up to his outside will be the P1 Battery, number 19 of Tom Wilhite. Row number 4 will have the Sim Coaches, number 88 of Anthony Handley. That one's a Ford Mustang. Alongside of the Sim Coaches, number 45, his teammate Andrew Mraz in a Chevrolet Camaro. Row number 5, Larry Bruner in the Red Bull, number 25 Chevrolet. Lining up alongside of your winner 1 week ago, Garrett Johnston in the number 15 Ford Mustang, only 56 thousandths off of the pole time. Row number 6, starting on the inside, will be the number 24 of your points leader, driving for Zeem Speed Shop at teamzss.com. That is the 24 of Braden Carroll. And to his outside will be the Mach 5 design Wolfelt on Spotify, number 42 of Quentin Clark. Row number 7 for tonight's race will have Troy Haight in the number 28, lining up alongside of Daniel Pinkston in the PMP Lawn Care, number 22. Row number 8, the Sim Coaches 51 of Michael Mueller, alongside of the Hunter's Fried Pickles Lost Chevrolet, number 7, belonging to Hunter Waters. Final row of the grid, well, let's see, 17 cars is what we're seeing here anyway. That is going to be the 89 of Jeff Yenish. Everybody else back behind did not set a lap in qualifying. That'll be Doug Wysocki, Matthew Kopp, and Adam Benefiel. They will make up the back half of the grid for tonight's race. Field doubled up 2 by 2, getting the word from race control. Stages will be at laps number 15 and 35. No stage break caution in tonight's 75-lap race. It could organically go green to checkered. We'll see if these guys are going to be able to pull that one off as the field's into the tri-oval under the control of Johnny Avila. Got to wait a long way to go around to get to the simspeedshop.com restart zone. They get there, they'll pick up the green flag, and we are underway here at Talladega. Braden Carroll. Let's see. I'm sorry. That's Cody Porter in the 04, tucking right up behind Johnny Avila. And that was going to be tough to watch those 2 cars tonight. You'll have to keep an eye on the blue. One car pulling way out of line and getting down to the inside of the racetrack. That looks like going to be Doug Wysocki heading towards the back. Adam Benefiel does as well. Top 3 now starting to break away ever so slightly as we are 3 by 3 by 3 back in the mid-pack.
This is always so scary. If we were at Daytona, Talladega is so wide that you can fit 4 or 5 wide and still be fairly comfortable. 3 wide is almost like running single file at Daytona. It's not that bad.
Honestly, you could maybe even do like 6 wide and only be slightly uncomfortable, like you're in the back elevator.
I have finished the race here back when the American Open Wheel cars ran here. 7 wide coming across the line. I'll have to find that screenshot somewhere. It was wild. Yeah.
I'm sure we can. We can do anything we want.
Hopefully soon enough at any rate.
We can have that discussion a little bit later on in this race. Motorsport Games is a dumpster fire, and we'll talk about that one in a little bit here, but things are starting to pack up once again real tight here at the front of the field. Braden Carroll has worked his way up to the 3rd position. Oh my goodness, though. The bump drafting between Andrew Mraz and Andrew Moore Jr. is intense, and that was at the midpoint of the corner. That's one of those spots. Whoa, buddy. That's one of those spots where you don't want to be doing that.
And Braden Carroll already up to the 3rd position.
Yeah, talk about it. You know, it's not super difficult to go from the back. If you're aggressive, especially in the early lap, guys like we saw earlier on that just hightail it out of there and go right to the back. Like, if you're aggressive enough and you want to be up there, you can get up there pretty easily.
Johnny Avila doing his best Dale Earnhardt Jr. impression, getting this field single-filed out. The Pied Piper is doing his work here at the front of the field, but potentially some of that may be due to the weather conditions here today. 79-degree ambient. But check it out, guys. 129-degree track temperature. You can see the heat rays on the cameras here, which is absolutely wild. It's tough to get around this place when it's this hot, because you get the little bump and it wants to make you a little squirrely. When it's this slick, it's going to make you a whole lot of loosey-goosey.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's never really been that big of an issue to me here. Like, tire wear, even with a hot and slick racetrack, it doesn't really feel like you have to worry about it. Like, there are times where it can get a little sketchy on the exit, a lot more than at the big track, but still not really worried about tire wear. Like, now you're gonna have like speed percent of wear on the gear. So it's more just unless you're in a big tag.
Well, and then I guess the question becomes, at what point, now that we have to start thinking about pit strategy from a split the race up into sections kind of deal, these guys only have 2 sets of tires in the box. Now, that's not going to matter all that much here. In fact, they may run the entire race without a tire change. But you do have to start thinking about the fuel numbers. And James, I think you've driven this car more than Bizzle and I combined have over the last 12 months. What are we looking at in terms of a fuel number here? And when can we expect these guys possibly to make it to halfway?
It's been a minute since I've driven this car, especially around Talladega. Probably maybe a year. I think you can make it to stage 1 fairly easy. If I remember correctly, I think
That little, oh yeah, I'm thinking Daytona numbers. Yeah, probably high 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
So basically then what that number tells me then is you can make it to halfway. And the stages are at 15 and 35. We're already halfway through stage number 1. You can get to halfway, and then so at that point, it's basically a one-stop race for everybody. Theoretically, I mean, even I don't see a reason to pit, even if we get a caution flag. The only pit stop you're really going to be doing is damage repair.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I said, you don't have to worry about tires. Fuel probably isn't going to be that much of an issue, and be in the pack and save quite a bit pretty effortlessly.
Seeing Hunter Waters dip out of line here. He's trying to get somebody to go with him up on the high side. Waters going to have teammates AJ Digby and Tyler Seville right in front of him. And we've talked about this in the past, Bizzle. If there's a guy I want to be around when you're talking about a fuel strategy race, it's got to be AJ Digby. Where the issue comes into play is I don't know that there really is any fuel strategy to this one here tonight. It's kind of get yourself to halfway and go like hell from there.
Yeah, the only fuel strategy I would have is make sure I'm pitting with other cars. Don't pit by yourself. Make sure you have a teammate, have a friend there that's going to come in the box with you.
Well, already working lap number 9 of 75, and we're going to have 6 to go in stage number 1 next time by the start-finish line. Seeing Tyler Seville opening up a little bit of a gap to Daniel Pinkston just ahead. Not sure if that's Seville trying to back these guys up a tick. I mean, I would think AJ Digby's doing those fuel calculations, and if it's close, they're going to run the pace they need to get to halfway.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind we're making it halfway here. Because these are the same engines, same fuel tanks as the old Gen 6 car, and you can make it at least 40 laps. It was like 40 to 40.
Daniel Pinkston trying to make that high side work, and thus far he's been able to do it. Able to come around both the 42 of Quentin Clark and the 45 of Andrew Mraz. Now now we're going to see Mraz make the move up to the high side to go with Pinkston. And this is the big thing we talk about at the plate tracks, James, is energy management is really important. If you're Johnny Avila, these guys battling back here means absolutely nothing to you until they start to get a run. If you don't have a spotter in your ear, you're going to have somebody, whether it's a teammate, whatever, calling from back in the pack saying, hey, high line's moving, and then you have to start really watching the mirrors.
Yeah, it's difficult when you're running without a spotter and you're up at the front because having the knowledge of what's going on still behind the pack, where the runs tend to start from, you're kind of guessing, and by the time you really have a good idea of what's going on, it might be too late. It's not as extreme with these cars. It's not as easy to get a run going like it is with like the newer Gen 6. So you have a little more, but if it was those Gen 6s, yeah, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah, Daniel Pinkston in a little bit of trouble. He gets shuffled out of line and he heads right to the back, drop anchor, and head to the rear. Going to put Andrew Mraz now up on that outside lane. He's up into the 6th position, and several of these team cars look like they may be trying to mount a charge here towards the front. Every one of these positions you pick up over the next 3 laps is another bonus or another stage point that you're going to pick up. That top line is going to be all Riot Motorsports cars. Daniel Pinkston tailing in at the back. Pinkston was an interesting watch during the practice session because he got some time working with the Charity Motorsports guys. He did a little bit of time working with the Riot Motorsports team, and he did a little bit of time team drafting with the Will Worsler Racing guys. That can be, I mean, that's kind of what you have to do as a single car or an independent driver there, Bizzle, because you kind of don't know who you're going to work with and who you can trust later in the race.
Yeah, you kind of have to be friends with everyone. Yeah, they'll all pretend to be your friend right about to lap 71 or 72, and they will happily leave you high and dry. You kind of got to be aggressive, put yourself on the point, try and keep everyone behind you once we get to the end of this race, or try and take a sneaky move on the last lap.
I'll tell you what, those front 3 cars on the outside lane were locked together down the back straightaway, making up a ton of ground on the race leader. They will come around and it'll be 1 to go here in stage number 1, presented by Northland Leisure. It's been all Johnny Avila at the front of the field. He has now led 14 of 14 completed laps. To this point, Cody Porter, Braden Carroll playing nice and kind of sticking in line, but we'll see if these guys are going to make a move out to try to take some of that energy away off the outside lane. There's Braden Carroll making the move up to the high side. He wants to take the stage win. Oh, that was a huge shove.
Man, some of these are just almost. I feel like we almost wrecked like 3 times, but didn't.
Oh, now Carroll may get hung out as we head down towards the start-finish line. Stage number 1 will go in the books. Braden Carroll going to fall all the way back to 8th. Johnny Avila sees the green and white checkered flag. He picks up the win in Northland Leisure, stage number 1.
So that is 8 points Johnny Avila just picked up on Braden Carroll. The gap is now down to what, 33 or 34 points?
Something like that. This is a potentially a big one here for Johnny Avila tonight. Getting you up close and personal with the Toyota Camry of Cody Porter. Man, these cars are so wiggly, though. Oh, my goodness. And quite frankly, I love that the wheel of stage cautions managed to come up with a goose egg for tonight, because it seems like cautions breed cautions. And right now we're going to go back to, okay, stage one's over, everybody settle in, and then you're going to be able to, you can go racing again in another 20 laps or so. When you have the stage break caution that comes, it kind of forces everybody to really get amped up for that brake bizzle. And it just feels like that's when you get those issues here at Talladega.
Yeah, when everyone's getting real antsy trying to get those stage points, you see them now all calm down. Because there's nothing on the line anymore, not at least to lap 35.
What's really interesting to watch here for me, James, is the fact that we're seeing these guys all kind of duck in and out. And some of this is the cars being a little bit twitchy. Some of it, though, is just getting air into the front of the car. You can, if you're in Cody Porter's spot where you're going to sit tucked up behind the race leader for 20 plus laps, you better get some cool air into that engine or you're going to grenade it.
Yeah, I absolutely haven't be that much of a problem, but I tend to not be as aggressive. On part of the reason why I don't do well on plate tracks, but yeah, it's definitely something that you have to be worried about. Oh,
wow, Cody Porter way down to the inside of the racetrack. He gets shoved down below the yellow line. Able to find a gap. He slots back up in line, but Johnny Avila going to lose the race lead to Andrew Mraz, Andrew Moore, and Quentin Clark as that outside lane says adios amigos.
How hard you push is also something that you're more worried about it in open setup races. You're going to be a lot more aggressive on the grill tape. The fixed setups tend to be very, very conservative on the grill tape, so even when you're right up against the rear bumper or someone, there's still just enough air getting into that engine.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think in the most recent build, they removed the tape percentage. Now it's just qualifying or race no matter what. So even if it was open, I don't think that's anything that you have to worry about.
Seeing Tom Wilhite get shuffled out to the outside of the racetrack. He will tuck back in at the tail end of the line on the outside. It's now going to be Andrew Moore Jr. leading that outside lane as Quentin Clark and Andrew Mraz, also Anthony Hanley, have ducked down to the inside. Puts Johnny Avila back to the 8th position. He's actually one spot back of Braden Carroll. And taking a look at things here, guys, we're already to lap 21. 35 is going to come very quickly. Oh, buddy. Braden Carroll right into the back bumper of Andrew Moore Jr. at the midpoint of turns 1 and 2. We're almost getting back to the point of, all right, it's time to go and start moving towards the front here again.
Yeah, pretty much. That's no being stuck in the back anymore, it looks like.
Yeah, Johnny Avila going to be on a very aggressive charge now to try and get back up towards the front row, and most importantly, just get in front of Braden Carroll. Braden Carroll going to be heading the inside line, though.
Heading the inside line, doing a little bit of side drafting at the midpoint of 1 and 2. Oh, that's so tight. And this feels like we're back to how they were racing at about lap number 15 at the end of stage 1. I don't know that we're going to see the crazy blocks start to happen just yet, but we're starting to get a little bit antsy here, and it's starting to feel like it's go time here already. And we've still got 14, 15 laps left in this stage.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this type of racing this early in the race, but you won't hear us complain about it.
No, there's only so much we can talk about during single file racing, and a whole lot that we can discuss when these guys are quite frankly all up on the chip and on top of each other. We talk a little bit about the side drafting, and you'll see Braden Carroll doing a little bit of it. He was at about the midpoint of the corner. It's almost like you're trying to just fill the gap in between where your car is and the car that's ahead of you, and just trying to dump all the air onto their spoiler and kind of hold them back up a little bit.
Yeah, you're just pushing air onto their rear spoiler. It slows the other car down. It's not really speeding you up, but it can slow an entire line down, especially if you have multiple cars, say on the inside line, trying to slow the outside line up.
Well, we may be seeing a little bit of that here with the 04 of Cody Porter. Keeping Braden Carroll at bay. Carroll now going to slide up into the outside lane and get behind Andrew Moore Jr. Johnny Avila now back to the 10th position. He is going to have to start getting a move on here. Although you sort of see everybody kind of single file out-ish down the straightaway, and then as soon as they get to the corner, they fan right back out again. Avila's in a little bit of a tough spot here, though, because if you duck down to the inside, you better have some help to get towards the front, or you're going to lose that outside lane.
Yeah, you're kind of in a precarious position. And it's a lot easier to lose the draft on the outside in these cars. They're very draft characteristics. So you have to be really kind of careful, especially if you're on the outside line here.
And Bizzle will bring up one of your favorite generations of car, the Gen 4 Twisted Sister. That was a very different kind of race car, actually similar to what a super late model looks like now. That car raced way, way different from the Next Gen. From the Gen 6 car, the car of tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. And then this car seems like it races a little bit different, but not as much compared to that Gen 6 car.
Yeah, these are kind of taking a step back in time, which is really cool because you can make moves on the high side and the low side. You're not stuck paired up with another car. You can kind of dive out, make your own run, and you can hang on to that run. You can get by someone, especially if they're by themselves too. You're not stuck interacting.
That was just pucker factor Zulu for Tom Wilhite. He was all over the place and squirrely down the back straightaway. Now as we get to 10 to go here in stage number 2, oh man, Johnny Avila thought about making it 4 wide through the tri-oval. Oh, there's big contact. Oh, and around they go. Big one at Talladega, and Avila missed it. Oh, we just yard sailed about 2/3 of the field here.
Yeah, like who even survived that? That was gnarly.
Unfortunately for Avila, Braden Carroll did.
All right, we're going to have to take a look at this one. I think we'll do this one from the NRN chopper here. And I think everything started kind of with the 04, right there in the middle of your screen. A little bit. Oh, Braden Carroll definitely did take a big lick.
Oh my God. Johnny Avila, code brown to end all rounds. The poor guy had his championship flash.
Let's see if Braden Carroll was. Oh, he was able to save that.
Yeah, he's. Oh. No.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a piece of driving by Braden Carroll. Oh my goodness.
Did Carroll get a shunt that caused that one to start, or did Carroll get that next one?
I think the car on the outside got turned down into
Let's see. Here we go. We're going to the telestrator here. You can see it right here. Braden Carroll and the 88 of Anthony Handley. I'm pretty sure that's where this thing started. They make a little bit of contact, and then kind of all hell broke loose.
Did the 04 hit the 24 and cause that contact?
You know what?
I think so.
Based on the amount of potential net code there.
I think it was just a little bit of a bump draft at the wrong time that put the 24 or forward and just caused all of that. Like, it was nothing egregious. It was just, you know, wrong place, wrong time. That's just play track racing.
Well, Anthony Handley, who was one of the cars right at the very beginning of that incident, stays out on the racetrack. It looks like just about everybody else is going to come down pit lane. And it looks like a fuel-only stop for Quentin Clark. We will await word from race control if there are any penalties that will come from this incident. Occurring at lap number 28, Quentin Clark will lead Johnny Avila off of pit lane. And then from here, it's basically who's able to get off of pit lane the quickest. Avila will be followed by AJ Digby, Larry Bruner, Matthew Kopp. Tom Wilhite looks like he got out of that one okay. Braden Carroll down off of pit lane. 39.8 seconds stop for Braden Carroll. So there was definitely some damage on the car of Braden Carroll.
Not as much as it should have been. That is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take a look here and try to get the close-up on the car, see if we can see where... I mean, the front end looks good. Little bit of damage maybe down the left-hand side. I'm not sure if that's just the kind of spec mapping on the paint scheme that we're seeing, but... I would hazard a guess and say the car of Braden Carroll may be okay. And quite frankly, with as many cars as we have that sustained damage in this incident, it's not like we're going to split up into two packs here or anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're all still going to be in one pretty big pack. I didn't really see a whole lot of serious hits to kill some cars, but some cars are probably definitely going to have some aero damage that's going to be tough for them to lead.
Well, and seeing Johnny Avila overshooting his pit box ever so slightly, but he's going to come in, top that car off with fuel. Same for AJ Digby. Braden Carroll does the same. Jeff Yenish, Hunter Waters, Cody Porter, all on pit lane. It looks like, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, with the exception of Adam Benefiel and Mike Mueller, everybody is back on the racetrack and on the lead lap, I think.
That is amazing. With the amount of cars that were involved in that just about everyone is on the lead lap.
Yeah, I mean, we killed like half the field.
Yes.
Thought we killed half the field.
Doug Wysocki, Tyler Seville, Andrew Moore Jr., Troy Haight, Andrew Mraz, all with pit stops over 1 minute and 45 seconds. But the caution laps are so slow here at Talladega that you're able to make up the time and do a lot of repairs on pit lane. Now, the field has gotten the 1-to-go signal, and they have doubled up here at the front of the field. Anybody that made a pit stop at the 1-to-go does not get to double up. They have to hang out on the inside line. So we are going to have a total of 2 race cars on the outside lane. It'll be Anthony Hanley and Tom Wilhite on the front row, followed by Quentin Clark and Garrett Johnston. And then we're all single file back from there. Larry Bruner, Daniel Pinkston, Johnny Avila, Braden Carroll, Matthew Kopp, AJ Digby, the top 10. As the pace truck is going to hit pit lane, and this one's going to be interesting. And Bizzle, we've seen Johnny Avila do some wild things on restarts. Are we going to see something crazy again here?
I'd take a look and see what he does.
Seeing the 45 of Andrew Mraz getting to work his way up towards the front of the field as well. So he'll be the third car on the outside lane as the green flag goes in the air. We are back underway, just shy of halfway, and with 4 laps to go in stage number 2. Braden Carroll back to the 8th position. He's going to have to start working his way up towards the front. He now looks outside of Johnny Avila. Carroll able to pick the position up, so that'll be a 1-point gain. It's Tom Wilhite leading the field off at turn number 3. Anthony Hanley gives Wilhite the big shove, and I'll tell you what, there are a couple of guys that I would not have expected to see at the front of the field here towards the end of stage number 2. And I would imagine, James, that probably makes you a little bit nervous when it's somebody that you haven't driven around a ton, especially if you're Braden Carroll and Johnny Avila.
Yeah, especially at a track like Dago where one small mistake can end everyone's day. You're like, oh, you're just kind of like giving it the side eye, like, I don't know what you're capable of. But at this point, you don't really have kind of have to send it and hope that they can hold their line, hope that they know they're not going to cause a huge melee.
Oh, Braden Carroll shoves himself up right to the race lead. He's going to have the 04 of Cody Porter on the back bumper. With 3 to go in stage number 2, Johnny Avila is going to have to start working his way there, and he does. Carroll gets shuffled out of line. He's going to be back down into the 5th position. Second car on the inside lane. Hunter Waters up into the 2nd position. That Skull Bandit looking machine heading up towards the front. Now when do Avila and Waters make the move for the race lead? Here it comes into 3.
All over the rear bumper of teammate Hunter Waters. Oh, that was a big shove into the front.
A little too much all over the bumper.
That outside lane just is not moving for Braden Carroll. He sits in the 6th position, so all is not lost just yet. But the points gap would shrink ever so slightly. And again, no stage break caution here coming at lap number 35. Avila tries the side draft on Cody Porter.
I wonder how that's going to play for fuel mileage, because now I'm not entirely sure, so I could just be spreading this information here and getting everyone hopes up, but I'm not entirely sure if you're going to be able to make it all the way on this tank unless you do a good amount of fuel save if you're in the back of the pack.
Yeah, it was only lap 35, basically 29 laps or so that they went on that tank of fuel. They may need a splash and go here as Hunter Waters going to look outside of Braden Carroll. Garrett Johnston goes with him. Carroll could be shuffled back. Oh, he gets a huge blast from Anthony Hanley down the back stretch.
Now, does Hunter Waters give the lead to Avila as they come over the line and give Johnny Avila a stage lead?
We're going to find that out shortly here. Garrett Johnston backs off ever so slightly. Here's Avila making the move to the outside. Down over the start-finish line. It is Johnny Avila getting the win in Northland Leisure Stage number 2.
Braden Carroll coming across in the 5th position. So that's 4 points now Johnny Avila has picked up.
And we're going to wad him up again. Big time in turn 2. Caution is out for the second time here tonight. Oh my goodness. Looks like Andrew Moore Jr., Anthony Handley may have been involved in that one. Andrew Moore Jr. running a little bit farther back here. Seeing Daniel Pinkston involved in that. Tom Wilhite also involved. Oh, big shove there. Oh, and Wilhite just an innocent victim there. Anthony Handley taking a huge hit into the outside wall. And that may be night over for Tom Wilhite as well. As we'll go back to the live look, as we are under caution just it's actually right at the halfway point. Next time by, they'll see the cross flags. It'll be 38 down, 38 laps to go. Oh, chance to catch the breath here again. Well, again, we'll await word from race control if there are any penalties that will be attached to that one. In theory, this should make it where everybody can come down, get one last splash of fuel, top the tank off, and be good to go. At least I would think to the end of the race here.
Yeah, I think that kind of takes the strategy aspect out of it.
Looks like Johnny Avila may be doing a little bit of damage repair here. He is stationary 17 plus seconds here on pit lane. Oh, is that interesting? AJ Digby elects to stay out on the racetrack. Garrett Johnston, Cody Porter, Braden Carroll, Hunter Waters, Jeff Yenish will be the first 5 off of pit lane. Johnny Avila down and away, 28 seconds, the time of the stop. And he will be able to line up in the 10th position when the drivers come around to choose. And I would think race control would say everybody pit under the caution and then we're going to double up the next time by. But if they don't, then we'll have at least one more lap under the caution flag here. So let's take, well, okay. Try this one again. Okay, it doesn't want to work for us. Doesn't want to let us go back to the incident that we had there. But I was going to try to take one more look here from the perspective of Tom Wilhite because, unfortunately, it looks like it may be race over here for Tom Wilhite. Tyler Seville and Matthew Kopp both still on pit lane. Seville just now coming out of the box after 1 minute and 48 seconds. Same for Matthew Kopp. 2 minutes and 5 seconds on pit lane. Tom Wilhite, Anthony Handley, both over 4 minutes of pit work on those cars. It looks like they will be done for the night. As race leader AJ Digby will come down to the attention of his number 14 crew looking to top off here at lap number 39. I gotta think we are closer than we think on fuel.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be completely out of the woods. I think it's going to be a little more manageable, but I wouldn't be surprised if this run isn't a little more subdued for most of it, with guys just trying to save as much fuel as they can.
While we have a moment under the caution flag here, let's make sure we get all of the series sponsored plugs in, and big thank yous to Real Assist, a real estate assistant service, and Mint Mortgage, a residential real estate mortgage broker, for coming on board for the 2023 season of the Sim Racers Club Series. Also, a big thank you to Real Assist, who has been an event sponsor several times this season. Also, P1 Battery for their race sponsorships. Realty Executive Saskatoon are the sponsors of the Most Laps Led, Hard Charger, and Most Positions Lost prizes. Northland Leisure Products are the sponsors of the Stage Breaks. Custom Paints and Diecast, a seasonal and Grand Champion prize sponsor. And finally, Sim Speed Shop. You can find them at simspeedshop.com. They are the series entitlement sponsor with seasonal champion and safe driver drawing prizes and Grand Championship prizes for the top 2 drivers. Thank you all very much for your support of the Sim Racers Club. Field is doubled up off at turn number 4, and it's going to be the 15 of Garrett Johnston and the 04 of Cody Porter on the front row. Row number 2 will have Hunter Waters and Braden Carroll. Jeff Yenish and Quentin Clark on row 3. Larry Bruner, Andrew Moore Jr. on row number 4. Row 5 will have Johnny Avila lining up alongside of the 22 with Daniel Pinkston. Field approaching the simspeedshop.com restart zone. Green flag goes back in the air, and we are underway once again here at Talladega. 36 laps to go. I mean, I would tend to think this is not exactly where we're going to see absolute craziness for the next 35 and a half laps. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit either here, Bizzle, as we see Garrett Johnston get way out of line down to the inside.
Yeah, I think he wants to get out of this hornet's nest. Maybe not. Taking the Kevin LePage approach to re-entering the track. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought that.
Again, anytime that gets mentioned, the only thing worse than Kevin LePaging the field is blaming your wife for it in the post-race interview.
The only thing worse than that is having to drive home with her.
That's exactly right. So Johnny Avila up behind the 22 with Daniel Pinkston, and they have worked together in the past. Pinkston spent about a season or so hooked up with the Will Worsler Racing guys, now running as an independent. And of note, all of the teams are now here in the Discord. So the Riot Motorsports room is full, the Charity Motorsports room also. The Without Will Racing team room is also full. Oh man, Cody Porter gets a huge shove down onto the apron. He's going to try to keep that car down there. We're 3 wide with one on the apron for the race lead.
He's doing a great job. Wow, that was a lot less dangerous than I was expecting.
Well, I think at some point he figured out you do have to back out at least a little bit.
That's possible?
Well, we just saw it there. The Porter going to fall all the way back to the 13th position. Something of note here, gents, on this topic of fuel strategy and saving. There's AJ Digby and Tyler Seville running about 4 seconds back of your race leaders. And they definitely don't sound like they're at full throttle either.
Were either of those cars, yes, they were. They were involved in the incidents. I almost wonder if there's damage on them or if they're just trying this whack job strategy, maybe to give them a hope at getting to the top of the field. Maybe the damaged cars just can't keep up with the pack.
Well, we saw this in the TNT Shock Series race on Tuesday night. The fuel strategy game really becomes important if you're close. If we get a caution flag late in this race, anytime between here and the end, it blows the strategy right out of the water. But so long as they don't go a lap down, they're not really in any harm. If we go green to the end, now you're talking about those cars possibly having enough fuel to make it, and everybody else towards the front of the field does not have enough Sunoco fuel. If only we had a pit reporter.
The fact that they're by themselves, so it kind of hampers how much they can save a little bit. They don't have the draft helping them out. They're losing all that time. They don't lose so much time and let the field catch back up to them.
Yeah, right now the gap is about 7.5 seconds. The 5-lap average for the race leader, 50.104 for Hunter Waters. The Will Worsler Racing teammates running back in 15th and 16th, averaging 51.6. Well off the pace. I mean, they're 1.5 seconds slow over the 5-lap average. But if you're in fuel sipping mode, kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, and like we've seen crazy fuel strats like that work. I mean, crazy fuel strats like that work or going to work. And one league, I was going to be able to make the strategy that they're doing work at Talladega until late caution happens. So it's not impossible, provided they don't get a yellow to blow all their cars.
Yeah, and Bizzle, I would tend to think at another racetrack, maybe that strategy is one you try. Here at Talladega, we are not done with the caution flag yet.
No, racing at Talladega and going for a crazy strategy is like taking all your chips and putting them on red and spinning the wheel. It's not even like putting them on red and spinning the wheel. It's like putting them on red 24 and spinning the wheel.
I say it's just hand them to the dealer and say, thank you, I lost.
Yeah. I'm sure you could spin that wheel and it'll land on it. But it probably won't.
So now inside of 30 laps to go, and it's Johnny Avila and Braden Carroll leading individual lines here at the front, but now Avila going to dip down in front of Braden Carroll. It's going to hang Cody Porter out ever so slightly. Porter going to fall back to the 5th position on the outside as he hooks up with Quentin Clark and Andrew Moore Jr. There's just no way we're done wrecking racetracks yet. The way these guys are sliding all over the place. Taking a look at the weather report here, things have gotten ever so slightly better. The track temperature is down to a balmy 126 degrees Fahrenheit. Still toasty. Hunter Waters is running in the 5th position, and he is your hard charger of the race, up 11 from where he started tonight. Now up 10. Jeff Yenish also up 10, and these numbers are going to shift just a ton as we go here. Currently, the car that would be your most positions lost award winner, Tyler Seville, running in the 16th position. He's down 14 from where he started the race, 14.6 seconds back of the race leader. Oh man, heard smoke and a big impact there. Things heating up once again at the front of the field. Quentin Clark up on the outside lane. Cody Porter down on the inside. Porter's going to have Troy Haight and Johnny Avila doing the shoving here as they come off of turn number 4. It is so much fun to watch how the energy develops in these lines too. Because you go from we're falling back to we've got a huge run, and then now we're right back again where you're kind of just stuck where you are.
Yeah, especially if you're side by side with someone, it's very hard to jump up there and change lanes. But the field is going to leave Braden Carroll out to dry, or was that Johnny Avila just jumping in behind him? No? No, Johnny Avila is still on the bottom line.
Yeah, it's going to be Troy Haight who's now stuck on the outside. He's going to have a slot to fold that number 28 Woodfather entry into. Oh, man, Braden Carroll gives him the shove right in the middle of turn 4. But that's how you build that energy, is it takes that kind of shove at a spot that you're not expecting it. And look at how far forward it rocketed Troy Haight and Johnny Avila. Carroll thought about getting up on the outside lane behind Avila. Instead, he's going to hang down on the inside and pick up the position. Avila now cuts down in front of teammate Hunter Waters.
Can Avila and Waters make something work again?
You know what? I think at this point, and James, you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong here. I think we're going to settle in for the next probably 15 to 20 laps. We're down to 24 to go next time by the start-finish line. There's just no reason to start shuffling yourself out and possibly getting involved in a wreck. You just kind of want to stay where you are and start planning out that move to the finish.
Yeah, especially if fuel is still a bit of a concern. There is absolutely no reason to be that aggressive. You know, we've still got a third of the race left to go. Just try to waste as many laps and time as you can, and then when we get to 10 to go, then let chaos reign.
Oh my goodness. Braden Carroll, that car fishtailing all the way down the back straightaway. Go on board here with Cody Porter. Andrew Moore Jr. giving the big shove to Quentin Clark. Getting the job done there, but you look out the back and there's Braden Carroll, Johnny Avila tucked in right behind. And you can see how much these cars are moving off of their lanes. I mean, they're not moving a couple of inches. They're moving feet at a time.
I don't know. We said that, and it looks like there's a big group of guys that are content to just waste some more time.
No, and it's 3 Will Wursler Racing teammates on the outside lane. Johnny Avila, Hunter Waters, Jeff Yenish. They're going to have Daniel Pinkston right back behind them, and it is a huge run to the front. Put Johnny Avila back up to P1. I think it was the first race we ever broadcast, or one of the first races for the Sim Racers Club. Will Wursler dumped Johnny Avila off of turn 4 at Daytona. He picked up the win in the season opener. Avila would claim the championship that season. It goes to show you that just the teamwork sometimes just doesn't work out the way you thought it might.
No, I remember at Atlanta, they all the Will Wursler guys basically wrecked into each other coming off the corner.
Yeah, now the funny thing is those guys will laugh about it the entire time, too.
Yeah, that we're affiliated with Racing Daytona had all 5 cars up at the front, controlling both lines, and they ended up taking all of them out entering turn 3, and they were very much not laughing about it. The group chat was lit that night.
Well, things have settled down ever so slightly again with Johnny Avila, Hunter Waters, Jeff Yenish, and Daniel Pinkston leading that outside lane. I would tend to think we're not that far off, though, now at this point. My math when I said we would settle down was you would get to about 15 to go, maybe 10 to go, and then you would really start to see the craziness come back out. It feels like if you're in Cody Porter's spot, you only need a lap, maybe a lap and a half, if you're going to make that big move. Oh, as Yenish scrapes the outside wall. That may bind the entire field back up behind these guys. See Dave Wolf Jr. checking in the comments. Dave, hope you're doing well. How is that even possible? I think referring to teammates wrecking 5 cars in turn 3. Maybe it could be about the Will Wursler guys laughing about it. If it's the second of those, the Will Wursler guys are just kind of here for have a good time, hang out. Johnny Avila is a road to pro driver on the iRacing platform. This is kind of his chance to hang out with some buddies and just do some racing on a Wednesday night that's not hyper serious. Some of these teams, though, they really get jacked up for these things, too.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, the difference. And some of these guys really have to sit there practicing all day. Kind of like me. I go out here, I practice for a week and still finish 10th. And then there's guys like Johnny Avila just doing this for fun. He hops into the session about 5 minutes before qualifying. He goes out there, gets on the pole, and leads half the race.
Yeah, that's a talent that I don't have. Although half the time he's not on an Xbox controller either.
That is correct.
So it's 17 laps to go, and back to 11th place, Larry Bruner are still in this draft at the front of the field. Doug Wysocki, Matt Kopp, Adam Benefield running 12th, 13th, and 14th are about 2 seconds back of the lead pack. Then you have AJ Digby and Tyler Seville, 15th and 16th, 27 seconds back of the race leaders. If fuel is a concern, they're in good shape. Otherwise, they're just damaged race cars, and we're not going to talk about them again.
I'm going to choose and say that they're not damaged just to make things a little more interesting.
The 4 additional cars in tonight's starting field are out of the race. Tom Wilhite, Anthony Handley, Andrew Raz, and Michael Mueller. But just because you're out of the race doesn't mean you can't spot for your teammates that are left. That would be Cody Porter, potentially Quentin Clark as well. They may have somebody that's now watching them, spotting for them, trying to help them out. As Cody Porter goes to the race lead, and he brings Braden Carroll with him. Oh, Quentin Clark tried to get in line. Oh. Wow, what a save by Jeff Yenish as well. Seeing the comment come in here from Richard Fletcher. Wishing I was there, having medical issues last few weeks, but I will be back. Fletch, get well, brother. We're looking forward to seeing you out here. Already with a super speedway win this season in the Sim Racers Club, getting his first career win in SRC competition. Hunter Waters making the big dive. I thought he was heading for pit lane, possibly out of that top lane, the way he pulled out. Now Johnny Avila gonna head for the bottom. Tucks right back up in line. That's almost like giving Waters just a little bit of a toe. Ever so slightly. Interesting thing to note here, guys. I am not seeing Braden Carroll in any of the team's discords at this point.
No, he doesn't ever show up in the Sim Racers Club discords. I'm not sure where he hides. He's not in the Express server. Maybe he likes to be alone in his head. Kind of like Brian Labarge. He will jump in before the race and he'll jump in after the race. But during the race, he likes to sit inside his head and just focus on going out there and putting on the best show he can.
Oh, that was close. Carroll and Cody Porter making contact. It shoves Johnny Avila all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Carroll's your new race leader. Avila all the way back to 8th. Play may not work out the way that these guys thought it would, though, because it's going to put Jeff Yenish, Hunter Waters, and Johnny Avila, the three Will Wursler teammates, all back lined up together as we are down to 12 laps to go. Waters and Jeff Yenish trying to get something rocking on the outside lane, but it's just not happening yet. And because of that shuffling around, we now have two distinctly separate packs. 1st through 8th, and then 9th through 14th. Championship leaders back to the front of the field. Braden Carroll to the point. Johnny Avila all by himself on the outside. We're going to be 3 wide for the race lead. Fizzled out very quickly. Quentin Clark able to hold on to the top spot over Andrew Moore. And the Will Wursler Racing guys slide right to the back of this line. Now with 10 to go, I would tend to think there's some urgency that we're going to see out of these three.
Oh yeah, hold on to your butt cheeks, everybody.
And if there's a guy that I could count on to be incredibly aggressive with the side drafting, it would be Johnny Avila. To this point, not happening just yet, as Andrew Moore just stays absolutely hooked to the back bumper of Quentin Clark. Braden Carroll gives him a little bit of shove of the midpoint of turn 1. Oh man, that whole inside line starts twitching. Give you a look how tight that draft is into turn number 1. Moore going to be right there, backs off ever so slightly. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Braden Carroll now all over the rear bumper of Andrew Moore.
Yeah, at some point, Carroll's got to start thinking, I got to go. I mean, he can see, especially with the relative up, he knows where Johnny Avila is. And he knows he's already lost, 10 points tonight or so. He knows that gap, that points gap is shrinking.
I mean, heck, he doesn't even need the relative. He just needs the look right button.
Sometimes I don't have those buttons mapped in my car.
No comment.
Oh, Avila gets the shove from Yenish, and it pushes him way to the outside. He's going to have to quickly tuck back in line.
If the outside line falling apart, this might fall into Carroll's hands. This might be what he needs. Less that he has to worry about next to him.
Well, we say that, and the outside line is now absolutely stuck together through the tri-oval. In fact, Jeff Yenish falls out of line, almost like a little bit of a swap draft going on to get back up to the front of the line. Now going up to work with those cars on the outside. Carroll tries to throw a little bit of a block on Hunter Waters. And there is that lingering question of, is fuel good to go? AJ Digby, Tyler Seville, 44 seconds back. And there you can see them just at the end of the back straightaway. Could those Will Wursler team cars become helpers for Johnny Avila, Hunter Waters, and Jeff Yenish late in this race?
Yeah, if they are doing a strategy, and I think it's safe to say that it might, this tag not work out.
Well, unless everybody has to hit pit lane here, as we're down to 5 to go. Now, Seville did have fairly heavy damage from one of the incidents, so I would tend to think that's what was going on there, but Waters, Avila, and Yenish going to get a little bit of a groove going here on the outside. Carroll tries to force him up the racetrack. Oh, man, that was a little bit of right side romance there from Braden Carroll. Going to get the job done, though. I'll tell you what, though, Johnny Avila absolutely not letting off the bumper of Hunter Waters at all. AJ Digby on pit lane, so now it's going to be only Tyler Seville up on the outside of the racetrack. He will become the first car one lap down, but there's nothing stopping him from tucking down in line, trying to hang out with the teammates. But that lead pack just absolutely leaving him in the dust. Now, Bizzle, we look at where the Will Wursler guys are on the outside of the kind of middle lane of the racetrack. You tend to think, well, they're not going to have any help to get something done. But that doesn't count on the fact that Braden Carroll is going to make a move and try to win this race. If Carroll makes a move, if Andrew Moore makes a move, all bets are off. And now you're talking about, I mean, the winner could come from anywhere in this lead pack.
Yeah, especially bumping and banging like that. You just saw Andrew Moore kind of give a door slam there to the 24 car.
Yes, he
and
did,
now
right?
We have a pair of WWR cars.
Yep, Hunter Waters, Johnny Avila, Jeff Yenish able to claim the top spot with 3 to go. Quentin Clark pulls out a line. He's going to get up on the high side of the racetrack. Braden Carroll, he's not sure where to go. Now the question becomes, where is the move going to come from?
I was going to say, they're all single file. Someone's going to have to pull out at some point.
Well, we're going to see Johnny Avila do what he did at the end of stage number 2. Jeff Yenish, he wants a win, but I don't know that he's going to try to take the points away from Johnny Avila. He may try something on the last lap, off the last corner. I don't know that Braden Carroll has anywhere to go unless he gets some help.
Yeah, he might need some last lap shenanigans to have a realistic shot.
Well, white flag is out. 1 to go here at Talladega. Quentin Clark, Andrew Moore Jr. trying to make it work on the outside. Cody Porter with a huge shove to Braden Carroll in the middle of turn 2. Carroll tries to lag back. Oh, huge shove to Clark, way to the outside. It could be the Will Worsler cars deciding this amongst themselves. Carroll's going to have a huge run off at turn number 4, though, and it is a long run down to the start-finish line.
Carroll again like he did.
Carroll, way to the outside. Where does Avila go? He pulls outside. Checkered flag is out. Hunter Waters gets the win at Talladega. Johnny Avila comes home second, and how about it? Braden Carroll finishing 3rd tonight. In a wild card race that either one of these two guys could have lost a lot of points, it turns out to be just about status quo. Hunter Waters, Johnny Avila, Braden Carroll, your top 3. There is the Hunter's Fried Pickles, Laws Chevrolet number 7 of Hunter Waters. He's your race winner tonight. He's going to burn them down here all in the front stretch. And while he does that, we'll get everything squared up here and we will show you your race results. Hunter Waters gets the win, a very nice win by 69 thousandths over Johnny Avila. I think that was Tyler Seville that absolutely just launched Hunter Waters halfway to turn 1. Braden Carroll comes home 3rd, Andrew Moore Jr. 4th, Cody Porter finishing inside the top 5, a quarter of a second separating the top 5 at the finish. Jeff Yenish, Quentin Clark, Troy Haight, Garrett Johnston, and Larry Bruner complete the top 10. Nice run for Larry Bruner tonight, getting that car inside the top 10. Second page of the leaderboard will be Doug Wysocki, Adam Benefield, Matthew Kopp, Daniel Pinkston, and Tyler Seville back to the 15th position. 16th on back, AJ Digby, Tom Wilhite, Anthony Hanley, Andrew Mraz, and Michael Mueller. I think Hunter Waters may have grenaded the engine. sounds like Johnny Avila just did as well. But yeah, no juice under the hood of that number 7 machine. But now it is time for our Victory Lane interviews, and we will kick things off with your race winner tonight, Mr. Hunter Waters. The fastest pickle in the South was absolutely stout tonight, brother. Congratulations, you pick up the win. You pick up the Hard Charger Award, gaining 15 positions. I don't know there's much more you could have asked for tonight.
No, I think it was a pretty good night. I know Johnny piped me for the second stage win there, but I think that was part of me maybe keeping that win at the end of that race there, or maybe not being raced as hard. I think I would have definitely chased him up towards the wall, at least if it was for the checkered flag. But no, it was a fun race. Of course, always the super speedways are fun. I'm a big fan of them. I really enjoy racing them. Obviously, this race had a lot more action, it seemed like, than what these league races normally put out, so I was able to skirt by, not get involved in any of that, keep it mostly clean, and yeah, been able to win.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, was as you guys were working your way forward, a whole lot went on tonight, a lot of multi-car incidents. How do you stay out of that? And I guess the follow-up to it is, how do you keep yourself in a mental position of going, I'm okay, we're not in any trouble here yet?
Honestly, and I'm not normally the type of person to say this, but like, especially whenever it's like Johnny, myself, Tyler as well. I know he kind of had an unfortunate second half of the race, but whenever you just have people that you're confident to draft with, you're not really too worried about whatever anybody else is doing, because you just know whatever the next thing you guys are playing in is probably going to put you in the best position available to you, at least, in your own perspective, at least at that point. But I think the luck, obviously, is probably 51 to 49% to the from moves to luck there. So, no, I got lucky at the beginning of it. I think we kind of took the approach, me, Jeff, Tyler, AJ, of kind of laying back, just seeing what it was going to look like, more or less, what the scope of it all was going to be. And kind of later on, me and Jeff were like, all right, screw it, let's go forward, it's getting boring, and safe enough, and made it through.
Yeah, and this one is going to go, quite frankly, a long way in your championship battle as well, finishing ahead of Andrew, ahead of Garrett, and even Tyler and all. You could be staring down a top 3 points position here if you play your cards right. Is that something that you start to think about here with just 4 races left in the season?
I mean, it's always something I'm thinking about with how fast everybody is. I mean, that's why stage points, I wanted to be in a good position, or in a better position for stage 1. But I mean, yeah, Garrett, I know he's a little bit newer to the league, or at least maybe compared to, relative to some others. But, there's a lot of really fast guys. So I think always you need to think about points if you're, if you're running a season long deal with this, that always kind of needs to be in the forefront with how good everybody is in this league.
Well, Hunter, congratulations on quite frankly, a fantastic finish here tonight, picking up the win at Talladega. Congratulations on it. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and shout outs you want to get in here.
Yeah, just shout out to Johnny, number one, Tyler, AJ, everybody else, Will Worsler Racing, or without Will Worsler Racing, better phrased. I know that Jeff kind of hangs around with us too, so that was fun. Hopefully Richard starts to feel a little bit better. But other than that, obviously Sam and Jordan, I think they put on a great league. I think that, they do a absolutely fantastic job all the way around. You guys do a really good job in the booth as well. So, just happy to be here, and thanks for another opportunity.
Well, thank you much. We appreciate the kind words, and I am looking forward to watching Sam's race recap from this one. That one will be enjoyable a little bit later on this week. Let's bring in our runner-up finisher tonight now, Mr. Johnny Avila. And, man, I'll tell you what, brother, you pulled the move on Hunter at the end of stage 2, and I think he kind of left you off the hook, maybe ever so slightly. Because he raced you a little bit harder here coming to the win. Congratulations on the second place finish here tonight. And Man, talk us through the night, because it was definitely wild.
Well, first I want to say whoever said green is bad luck for a race car is clearly wrong for today. But the race was pretty good. I to make that move work that I did at the end of the other stage, I would have need to pull out sooner. But the thing is, with the way Braden and Cody work so well together and are able to push, if I did that, we may not have gotten the 1-2. So I decided to just try some late, even though I probably wouldn't get it, just in case somebody has a run and I can get a bump.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I mean, we saw the work that, and we have it up in slow-mo on the screen here, that you, Hunter, and Jeff did tonight. I don't think that the 1-2 happens without Jeff being there, because he was absolute team player the entire time here. I mean, obviously going for a win, but when you have three guys like that at the front, that can be a tough thing to overcome.
Yeah, so it looked like the guys behind us got a little spaced out, so I was kind of telling everybody to like manage their temps. Like I brought my temps all the way down, and then I'm like, Jeff, when we're on the trial wheel getting the white flag, just don't lift, and we'll do a 3-car tandem, and then we can battle it coming out. And thankfully, he was able to push us and willing to work with us, because the speed that we had as a 3-car train made it so that the other guys couldn't really get us.
Yeah, it was, quite frankly, a fantastic show that you guys put on here tonight. As always, the Sim Racers Club putting on a great show for us. But congratulations on the second place finish tonight. You're going to make up the gap a little bit here on Braden in the points. It's going to be down to about 30 or so heading into the final 4 races of the season. How much are you looking forward to that championship battle? Because you guys have been tooth and nail all season long.
I got to start paying more attention to when the stages are and take my tires accordingly, so I don't do what I did last week and lose a bunch of points. But these next 3 races, I don't know if it can be done, but I'm going to try to steal every single point I can, and today I accomplished that for the most part.
Yes, you did. Great run tonight, Johnny. Congratulations on it. And before we let you go, make sure you do all the sponsor plugs and thank yous here, too.
I'd just like to thank Zoom Setup Shop. If you want anything on the short track or eNASCAR side, check them out. And I'd like to thank all my teammates tonight. We're without Will these past few weeks, so I guess our team is now without Will racing. But you know, we still go out here and try and have fun every single week.
Yeah, I think we've called him that. You guys that a couple of times during the broadcast here as well.
It's sticking now.
I haven't gotten any dirty messages from Will or Nikki yet, so we'll see how long that continues to stick for. But Johnny, congratulations on the podium finish tonight. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us, and I don't think we're going to have third place Braden Carroll available to us for the interview here tonight. Man, but I'll tell you what here, as we'll go back to the live look and pull all the graphics and stuff up here. My goodness, guys, James, we'll come to you first. As always, a fantastic show out of the SimSpeedShop.com Premier Series. But Talladega is just a totally different beast, and these guys took it to another level tonight.
That they did. This was a great race. It was a perfect mix of great draft pack racing, not a whole lot of wrecks, wasn't a pure dumpster fire as we see from a lot of plate races out there. Just a great race from start to finish.
Yes, it was. And now, Bizzle, you're the guy who's kind of doing the spreadsheets and running the numbers over there. 30-ish points with 4 races to go. This championship battle is most certainly not settled yet.
Yeah, Johnny Veal did a great job of closing the gap. It is far from done with 3 races to go. If he does another 3 nights of just picking 10 points here, 10 points there, and 10 points the third week, it could be a really, really close one, especially if Braden Carroll has a hiccup or 2.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, yes, Johnny can do his thing, and he talked a little bit in the interview about having to be more cognizant of when the stage breaks are and how he manages tires. But at the same point, Braden Carroll can't lift off the throttle yet. It is going to be a really, really fun final 4 races of this Mint Mortgage fall season for the SimSpeedShop.com Premier Series. And we've got a whole lot more coming up to close out this week on the National Racing Network. Tomorrow night, note the time change, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Indy Pro 2000 cars will take on Road America, round number 9 of their 12-week season. Then we follow it up next week. The Silver Crowns head off to Kansas Speedway. Again, note the time change, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming up on Tuesday night next week, the TNT Shock Series is off to Phoenix. That one is always a fantastic show for those guys, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we are right back here next Wednesday night with a visit to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You do not want to miss that one. These guys always put on a great show, and, well, quite frankly, we're looking forward to bringing it to you. But with that, it's time for us to wrap things up. Thank you very much to Mr. James Watson, Mr. Patrick Byrne, my buddies in the booth tonight here. This one has been fun. We're looking forward to seeing y'all again tomorrow night for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. For Bizzle, Watson, and everybody else here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.